Welcome back to the channel, everybody, and today, like promised, these are those ribs from that prime rib video, which I'll link above, and we're going to make gravy today. I'll keep it as straightforward as possible, and it's not hard, but you just need a little bit of time. Let's get to it. First things first, we're just going to take these out of the bag and throw them on this cooking tray. And I also had more from another roast. All we're going to do is spread them around. Nothing fancy at this point. And I'm going to just put a little bit of olive oil on them. No salt and pepper yet. We will do that later. I've got the oven preheated to 425. We're going to throw these in first, and then we're going to add some stuff to it. In the meantime, what we're going to do, we're just going to roughly chop up some onion, celery, carrots. I have some mushrooms left over. I'm going to throw them in as well, and a little bit of garlic. We're going to let the bones go for about a half an hour first because they're going to take longer. When this is done and that's done, we're going to throw them all back in and roast off the vegetables to get as much flavor in these guys as possible. And we're not going to be keeping these vegetables for this gravy. We're just going to chop them. I'm going to just, let's say, quarter them, because we just need to extract the flavor from these guys. Same thing with the carrots. I'm not going to peel them because they're washed, but we don't need to do anything special. Just nice sized chunks. Same thing with the celery. We are gonna take the peel off the onion. I don't want that in there. There we go. That's simple, nothing complicated. The only thing with making, let's say we're making the stock to make the gravy, it takes a little bit of time. But this is something you can always do before, like the day before a big Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever. Because you're going to be busy enough on that day. So do all this stuff that you can the day before. Here we go. The bones have got some great color on them now. What we're going to do, just move them around a little bit. There's enough fat on the tray here, so we really don't need to add anything else. So what we're going to do is add all the veggies. No salt and pepper yet. We're going to do that later on. This is going back in the oven. I've turned the oven down to about, what did I turn down to? 380. We don't need it at 425 because the vegetables we're going to burn because there's sugar in there. Probably going to go back in for about another 45 minutes to an hour. I'm going to check it. Okay, here we go. Everything's beautifully roasted off. They were in there for just over an hour. Getting a steam bath now. Anyways, now we're going to transfer these to a pot. We're going to show you, cover that with water, and then let it simmer. Nothing fancy with this. We're just going to get the bones in first. And now the veggies. Get all that goodness in there best you can. And now we're just gonna cover it with, we're gonna, it's about here, so we're gonna, I don't know, fill the pot pretty good with water, because we want this to simmer for a couple hours, because we want to extract as much flavor out of the bones and the veggies as possible, and will reduce over time. So don't worry about that. Let's get it filled. Okay, that just covered them. Gonna get this bad boy on. We're gonna get it hot, and then we're gonna turn the temperature down. But I'm gonna put a little bit more water on. And at this time, we will add some aromatics. I've got some stuff here. We've got black pepper, green pepper, bay leaf, dried rosemary, a couple chipotles, not hot, but great flavor, thyme, and allspice, bay leaf. We're going to dump that in, give it a quick mix. The only other thing I'm going to do is add some salt now, but we will add more later if we need to. And really we just need time and the heat to do its thing now. All I'm going to do is skim off the top with any impurities and stuff, anything that doesn't look good, and then we're going to dump it out. They've done their job now. Yeah, so we're just going to take them out just to make the separation of the everything else and the liquid easier. I know this might seem like a lot of work, but if you've got the time and you're doing a big family function, you're gonna end up with a much better product. But what I will do, I'll use this scooper to take out as many big veggies as I can first, because they've done their job. They were only in there to flavor everything. I've got this other dish here with a very fine strainer, but I've also got some cheesecloth lining it because I want it to take out as much small particulates as possible. Now the fun part, without trying to make too much of a mess, at this point we've got a stock. What I'm going to do now is turn some of this stock into a gravy. I'm all set up. I've got a little pot on here. The stock is there. A couple other utensils that I will get to. Now there's an easy way to turn this into gravy, or let's say the French way. The easy way is basically just take a little bit of cornstarch, a little bit of water, make a slurry, have this in here simmering, add it, whisk it in. The heat will help thicken up the cornstarch and give you a thicker gravy. We're not doing that. We're doing the way that I normally do, which is the French way of making a roux. And a roux is basically just equal parts butter and flour. Heat it up, and then you add the liquid to that, and that will thicken it. Takes a little bit longer, but I think it makes a much better product. So here we go. And saying that, I've done this so many times, I'm just gonna wing it. But if you're gonna do it, use equal parts butter and flour, and it'll work good for you. So just a bit of butter in there. Let that go. A bit of flour. Get my trusty spoon. Stir this together. And I'm going to have a very kind of liquidy solution, well, mixture in here. I'm not making a big batch, so I don't need a lot of this. Basically, you're just going to scale it up if you're doing that's a whole thing for your Thanksgiving or Christmas or Easter. What people will do with this is they normally will just get it combined, heat it through a bit. What I like to do is take it that one step further over our low heat, let the butter and flour brown off a bit and gives you that better flavor. Takes time, a little bit of time, but well worth it. And as you're watching this, you will see this mixture get darker and darker, and you get it to the point where you want it without burning it, and then add the liquid. We're there. I don't want to go too crazy. Let's just do this. That, back on the heat. Get your whisk. We just got this on low heat. I'm going to bring it back up to a simmer, let it thicken up, and then we are done. As you can see, it's coming back to a simmer. We're just going to let that all combine and thicken up. I've let it simmer for a few minutes, just that way everything gets to know each other, gets down to the thickness of gravy I want. Just made a small amount. Anyways, not too thick, not too thin. Looks good, nice and smooth. Covers the back of the spoon good. Now for the final taste. That's good. Now at this point, when it's still in the pot, you can still add whatever flavors you want to it to jazz it up whatever way. That's totally up to you. But just like this, you will have a great tasting gravy for your dinner. I use beef bones, but you can use your leftover turkey bones, chicken bones, pork bones, and do exactly the same thing I did with them that way, and you'll still come up with a great tasting gravy. It'll taste a little different because you use different bones, but that's the beauty of it. Get out there and try it. It's not that hard, you just need some time. And before I forget, with all that stock, one of the best ways to deal with that is throw it in ice cube trays, freeze them. Once they're frozen, throw them into a Ziploc bag, or throw them into the mason jars, seal them up, do the whole canning process with them, and you'll have stock sitting on your shelf for months. I'm just going to freeze mine. For me, that's the easiest way to do it. And enjoy it. Well guys, I hope you had fun with this one. I just wanted to show you what you can do with your leftover bones. Don't be afraid. Keep them and make a beautiful gravy with it. If you have questions, leave them down in the comments. I will get to them. Like always, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and happy eating.